he'll be amazing. He's a star.
Be electric today.
He's the king. He's the best that we've ever had.
The build-up to him coming back was huge. The media circus was huge.
And
there was French flags flying everywhere because the talisman was back. To have him back was like the ship having his captain back. You know, he knew how to point us in the direction, which way to go.
Eric's stage. Eric's the lead actor, and Eric delivers the best lines.
Welcome back, a tribute to his footballing genius.
We're pleased to announce we've agreed terms with Leeds United for the transfer of Eric Cantona, and he's agreed a new 3.5-year contract.
He arrived at Old Trafford with an exceptional pedigree and a mixed reputation.
He was supposed to be this monster that couldn't be tamed, and wherever he went sort of left a trail of destruction, so we were kind of...
Yes, Eric!
Doing things that the referee, getting involved with teammates and various disciplinary issues wherever he went. He showed no signs of any of those traits. He was always positive when he came, he was always a team player, and he just loved being there.
Yeah, I mean, he was a little bit different from your archetypal footballer, I guess. I mean, he was into poetry and art and a lot of stuff that players, the way they were in that dressing room, probably didn't understand a lot about. But he was a very confident, maybe people thought arrogant kind of character. But as I say, in his off-guard moments when we were all out, he just loved being there. He just was like any other lads, had a bit of a chat, a bit of a laugh, a couple of beers, and didn't want to go home. He embraced us, we embraced him. As soon as we saw him on a football pitch and what he could do, then all was good. Well, he had unbelievable balance for somebody 6'2", 6'3".
There's a break on now with Cantona.
He had wonderful technique. He was terrific in the air.
Cantona!
He was strong. He was quick, and of course he had that flair which made him that exceptional player.
Imagining that, let alone executing it.
He could do something out of the ordinary with a piece of skill.
Elkin's header only goes to Cantona! A glorious goal! What can you do about that?
I'm in the privileged position of being involved in one of the Premier League's greatest goal-scoring moments. If it happens, you know, so I think it was probably the most perfect 12-inch passes you'll ever seen. I actually think the one he scored against Sheffield United in the FA Cup, a similar type of chip, was an even better goal.
Cantona is free. Giggs has seen him. He's found him. Cantona looks for the chip. Oh, exquisitely done.
He hit this chip into this gale force wind, and it went in off the underside of the bar. And I just thought, that's absolute genius.
Well, it's just teed up for Cantona.
Sometimes he'd maybe have quiet matches, but he'd do something in a game that'd either win you the game or would just leave you going, wow. And that was the player that Eric was.
They just arrived on the scene at Old Trafford, United's new generation. A raft of talented academy graduates, eager to impress. They were impressed by the Frenchman and in awe of him.
He's a really quiet man, humble, quiet man, but phenomenal aura about him.
I felt nervous in front of him. He walked towards you and he was just big. I mean, people might realise he was big, but he was big that way, tall, an actor quicker than people would ever imagine as well. It was more about his actions, maybe sometimes a stare. If he didn't play the pass to the right side of the defender.
Most top teams have a leader like that they can turn to with, if you like, the lieutenants being underneath them. But Eric was certainly the leader of that team, the way he drove us and the way he taught us without actually talking to us, if that makes sense. He taught us just by watching what he did.
I've only played with a few players, really, that have that enormous presence that just make you feel like you're in the presence of something more than a football player, and he was one of them.
In Cantona's first season, United were champions for the first time in a generation. In his second, they won the double.
And we must be the king in Europe. We did the double, like Liverpool in the 80s. Liverpool was the king in Europe. I hope so. Touch wood.
Everywhere he'd been, he'd won something, and he liked winning. But he liked winning in a certain way. He liked to win with panache and style.
He was the final piece of the jigsaw for the team. He gave us that imagination. We had a really strong team, full of characters, full of grit, strong players, but maybe lacked a little bit of imagination. And Eric was the, orchestrated all that, I guess.
In Alex Ferguson, he had a manager who knew how to manage him.
I just think he found a really comfortable place for himself, a manager who understood him, or tried to understand him as best as he could.
We were at a function one night, and we had just won the league.
We all turned up in our blazers with the old, I call it the Busby Babes crest, but it's the old Manchester crest.
Of course, Eric turns up with flip-flops, raggy jeans, and what you could only describe as Joseph's Technicolor Dreamcoat coat.
If it had been any other player, may have been sent home, he might have been certainly clipped round the ear if it was a younger one.
Like a mug, I went up to Sir Alex and said, "Boss, listen, okay, Eric can't turn up like that." He says, "Tell the rest of them over there, if they can all play like him, they can all come as Joseph next year."
Yet from time to time, he showed a side to his nature that no manager could control.
There was times, and when he lost his temper, as we all know, then there was that red flash. And with all the great players I've played with, somehow it's ingrained in there that they've got this little switch.
For me, the short fuse is what people like to focus on. I think that's the sort of myth. And he did have his moments. He wasn't taking any messing around, Eric Cantona, but that wasn't for me his overriding personality and character.
Everybody said about being a maverick, and what he's saying about the individual, all the other stuff, but he couldn't have been more impeccable in how he did things, apart from one game.
It was halfway through the season. United, locked in a title race with Blackburn Rovers, were playing at Crystal Palace. A running battle between Cantona and several Palace players would lead to one altercation too many. In the second half, he kicked out a defender, Richard Shaw. The red card was predictable. What happened next would be anything but.
I don't think any of us seen that coming. I don't think any of us envisaged that he was going to jump into the crowd.
He'd just been sent off. The guy came down the terrace screaming and shouting, and I think something just snapped in him.
Eric, in his own way, sort of nudged me after the game and sort of said, "I think I'm in a bit of trouble." I said, "It's a bit of trouble."
Private 3, stay where you are. Private 2 and Private 1. Can you keep your men there, please? Thank you.
Because of an incident that's happened here this evening, we've received 2 allegations of assault.
We've all done daft things, impetuous things that tipped us right over the edge. Unfortunately for Eric, his is very much the public domain.
He's on, yeah, he's on.
The Football Association has this evening charged Eric Cantona with misconduct that has brought the game into disrepute.
Manchester United has today suspended Eric Cantona from all first-team matches for the remainder of the 1994-95 season.
The reaction was one of shock.
What happened last night was a stain on our game.
And condemnation.
The punishment never for me is kick him out of football, kick him out of the club. It's wrong. It's not right, obviously, but it's a human being and we want passionate sports people. And the guy's giving him a load and he's gone and given him one back.
Convicted of assault, he faced a fortnight in prison. When his sentence on appeal was reduced to community service, he spoke to the press.
When the seagulls follow the trawler, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea.
I remember saying to him afterwards, Eric, where'd you get that from? In his own way, he thought, I don't know, it was good, eh? So he could say something like that.
But football would punish him severely.
What do you think is going to happen?
The members of the Commission have decided that Eric Cantona should be suspended forthwith from all football activities up to and including the 30th of September 1995.